In this session, we're going to define what static entities are. Then, we will look into the key features that static entities have, such as attributes and records. So, what are static entities? Static entities are a special type of entity. They allow you to create a predefined list of values that you can use in your applications. Let's drill down into what this means exactly. A static entity acts like an enumeration, that is, a list of items in a collection. In OutSystems, these items are called records. Static entities have attributes and records, and given their static nature, records cannot be changed at runtime. Changes to these can only be made during design, in development. Another interesting feature about static entities, that makes them a little different from normal entities, is that static entities only have one entity action, the getEntity action. The reason for that is that since these entities are static, they cannot be changed at runtime, therefore data can only be read. By default, when we create a static entity, it is created with 4 attributes: an ID, a label, an order, and is active. You can change these default attributes, and here we can see just that. In the example you see on the left of your screen, the label attribute has been changed to priority. And, you can also see that besides the 4 default attributes, we also have a 5th one. So, you can add other attributes. In this case, the color code attribute has been added to the priority static entity. Static entities have a set of records. These can be found under the Records folder. Our priority static entity has 3 records: low, medium, and high. Each record is going to have an identifier, and then it will have a value for each of the attributes that were defined for the static entity. If we look at the example of the priority static entity, we have the high record, and in its properties at the bottom we have the values for each one of the attributes of the static entity, including the color code. These values are defined during design time, for every record created in the static entity. All records have a unique identifier, and in our application logic we can use this instead of the actual record ID. The record identifier is more meaningful than an auto-generated ID, thus making it easier to remember, as well as to create your application code.